In the heart of a quaint neighborhood nestled between cobblestone streets and ivy-covered walls, there stood a house that had witnessed generations of laughter, love, and life. In this house lived a little girl named Cleo. She was a curious soul with eyes that sparkled like the dewdrops on the roses in her garden and hair as dark and unruly as the forest behind her home. Cleo adored her grandmother, a woman whose age was as mysterious as the stories she told, but what Cleo loved most was the attic. It was a treasure trove of memories filled with antique furniture, forgotten toys, and trunks bound with leather straps that held untold tales within their weathered surfaces. One rainy afternoon, while exploring this wonderland of youth, Cleo stumbled upon a book concealed behind a chipped porcelain doll. The book was ancient, its cover devoid of any title or name. Its pages were filled with faded ink, swirling patterns and words in a language that seemed to dance before disappearing into the mist of time. As soon as Cleo touched the book, a jolt of energy surged through her, connecting her to an unseen force that hummed beneath its aged pages. Intrigued and slightly apprehensive, Cleo decided to take the book home. She hid it under her bed. The book, becoming a secret shared only by her and the whispering rain, days turned into weeks, and the book remained untouched until one night when Cleo couldn't sleep. Drawn by an inexplicable force, she got out of bed and walked towards the hiding place of the old book. With a deep breath, she opened it, and as she did, the room began to change. The wallpaper shimmered, transforming into a window that displayed a lively scene from the past. Cleo could now witness firsthand the stories encoded in the book's pages. As Cleo continued reading, she saw her great-grandmother, Isabella, a spirited young woman with eyes as bright as the sun, dancing with a handsome man in a moonlit clearing. Their laughter echoed through the ages, mingling with the rustle of leaves and the chirping of crickets. There was a deep connection between them, a love that transcended time and found resonance in Cleo's own young heart. But the stories didn't end there. As Cleo delved deeper into the book, she encountered other relatives and uncovered fragments of their lives. She saw her grandfather, Antonio, as a young boy, his face filled with wonder as he gazed at a ladybug crawling on his hand. She witnessed her grandmother, Elena, reading a book in an old-fashioned rocking chair, her brow furrowed in concentration. Each page she turned unveiled another piece of her family's rich tapestry, weaving together a narrative of lives lived, loved, and cherished. With each story, the room morphed and shifted, becoming a dynamic canvas that played out scenes from the past. When Cleo read about her grandmother's childhood, her bedroom transformed into a cozy living room, complete with a crackling fireplace and floral wallpaper. The air grew warm, heavy with the scent of pipe tobacco and freshly baked bread. For a fleeting moment, Cleo felt as if she were sharing a cup of tea with her grandmother and her friends, listening to their animated chatter as they exchanged stories and dreams over steaming cups. One day, Cleo discovered a story that made her stop in her tracks. The book showed a young girl who looked like her, no, not her, but an older version of her. The girl was standing in front of the same house where Cleo lived, but it was different somehow, majestic and vibrant. It was adorned with twinkling lights, laughter echoing from its windows, and the sweet melody of a piano drifting out to the street. This must have been her parents as children, Cleo thought. As she continued reading, the room around her blurred, then reformed. The wallpaper blossomed into a garden, the very same garden she played in every day. But this garden was alive with activity. Children chased each other through arching trees laden with ripe fruit. The air buzzed with the sound of their joy. Their laughter carried on the breeze, like the tinkling of bells. The girl from the story, who Cleo now knew was her mother, sat on a nearby tree stump, absorbed in a book. Beside her lay a basket filled with ripe berries. Her golden hair shone in the sunlight, framing a face that held the promise of both wisdom and innocence. Cleo felt a surge of emotion, a deep longing to understand her mother better, to know the stories that had shaped her into the person she was. As Cleo's eyes traced the words on the page, she saw her father approaching. He was older than the girl, his features kind and gentle. He carried a bouquet of wildflowers, their colors vibrant against his worn overalls. His gaze met her mother's, and a smile lit up his face. He handed her the flowers, and she accepted them, her cheeks flushing pink. The two started talking, their voices soft murmurs in the symphony of bird song and rustling leaves. Cleo felt a warmth spread through her chest, witnessing the budding romance between her parents. It was a love story unfolding, just as her grandmother's had, a cycle of affection passing down through generations. The more stories Cleo uncovered, the more her understanding of her family, her home, and herself deepened. The book became a bridge connecting her to the past, allowing her to walk hand in hand with her ancestors through the corridors of time. However, as Cleo continued her journey through the book, she realized that some stories were incomplete. Turning a brittle page, she came across an entry detailing a pivotal moment in her grandmother's life. The words swam before her eyes, telling the tale of how her grandmother had met her grandfather. They had been star-crossed lovers, their paths converging amidst the backdrop of a war-torn Europe. But the story didn't end there. The last sentence on the page was a cliffhanger, hinting at a tragic separation, leaving Cleo with a profound sense of foreboding. Determined to uncover the missing pieces, Cleo pored over the book, searching for answers. She wanted to know what had happened to her grandparents after their separation. Days turned into weeks as Cleo immersed herself in the stories, each page bringing her closer to her family's past, but also deepening the mystery surrounding her grandparents' separation. Then one evening, as Cleo sat nestled in her favorite armchair, the answer she sought materialized before her eyes. As she read, the room began to transform once again. The wallpaper receded, revealing a cobblestone street illuminated by gas lamps. A horse-drawn carriage rumbled past, its wheels echoing on the empty street. And there they were, her grandparents, standing before a train station. Their faces were etched with worry, their hands tightly clasped, as if seeking solace in each other's touch. The image froze on the platform, mirroring the suspended moment in Cleo's own heart. Before she could dwell on the emotions churning within her, the scene shifted. Her grandmother stood alone on a windswept pier, the salty temps of the sea heavy in the air. Tears streamed down her face as she watched a departing ship, its sails billowing in the distance. The finality of the scene left Cleo breathless, the weight of her grandmother's sorrow pressing heavily on her chest. The discovery of these hidden chapters brought a rush of emotions to Cleo. She felt an overwhelming love for her grandparents, a deep empathy for the sacrifices they had made, and a renewed appreciation for the life they had built together. It was as if the book itself were a living entity, sharing its wisdom and showering its readers with the magic of remembrance. As the stories unfolded, Cleo felt a profound connection to her family, a bond that transcended time and distance. She learned of their hopes and dreams, their struggles and triumphs, and most importantly, the enduring power of their love. The book had become more than just a collection of words and pictures. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a celebration of the unbreakable ties of family, and a reminder of the beauty that can emerge even in the darkest of times. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and a mind brimming with inspiration, Cleo closed the book, its secrets now woven into the fabric of her being. The attic, once again transformed into her sanctuary, became a place where she could revisit the past, honor her family's legacy, and find solace in the timeless tales that whispered through the ages.